Hello students, a very warm welcome to this extract based questions video based on the poem The Patriot. I hope you all have understood the poem well. You can go on getting back to the videos in order to understand it thoroughly. So, read the extract given below and answer the questions that follow. So this is the extract, children. So when I discuss these extract based questions, I expect you all to open your textbooks to the poem that is being discussed. So this is the second stanza of the poem The Patriot by Robert Browning. Now, who is reminded of his past and why? A very simple question, children. Yes, it is the patriot who is reminded of his past. He was welcomed a year ago after his grand victory by the people, and thus he was reminded of his past. Since all these people now hate him and they are hurling stones at him at the time of his execution, so he is reminded of his past when he is now being dragged by the people for his execution. Who are they? What would they have done for the patriot? Now they are here those people who welcomed their hero, the patriot, a year ago. And they are the ones who bestrew flowers in his way. And thus his path was strewn with fragmented roses. And it is they who were mad with enthusiasm, with curiosity to see him come back after his grand victory. Next, what bells are being referred to here? The bells that are being referred to here are the bells of a church tower, which was decorated for the patriot's welcome. They were rung in the honor of the patriot's return. Question number 4. What tells you that the speaker was swayed by the enthusiasm of his admirers? Now, my dear students, the fact that the patriot thinks that even if he had demanded the sun from the sky, the people would still have granted that to him because of their happiness, because they were so happy to greet their hero that they could possibly do anything under the sun. And this tells us that the patriot was swayed by the enthusiasm of the people. So that is why he says that, I'll quote those lines to you. Had I said, good folks, mere noise repels, but give me your sun from yonder skies, they had answered, and afterward what else? Means, even if he had asked them to go and fetch the sun for him, they would have definitely agreed to it and even said, what else after that? So sun here means the ultimate. So sun could be referred into two ways. First, the sun that he's talking about, that this the ultimate. And another is what he wanted to achieve. So, What proves him wrong? The sight of the same people now wanting him to die and hurling stones at him, even during his execution, proves him absolutely wrong. Now, those same people are, they are already throwing stones and flinging stones at him, and they're all eager to reach to the scaffold's gate, to the shambles, to see him hung there. So this is what proves him wrong. Fifth question. Why is the patriot punished? What makes him sad? Now, dear students, the patriot is punished for a certain misdeed that he did probably in the past, and that made all the people turn against him. Seeing the same people who once loved him a year ago now hating him and wanting him to be executed actually makes him sad. He's very upset that those same people who welcomed him with all those beautiful roses and myrtles in his path, they all cheered for him, they were all in adulation, are actually now humiliating him. So from that state of exhilaration, he comes to the state of humiliation. Next extract. Alack, it was I who leaped at the sun. And children, read this. This is the third stanza of the poem. To give it my loving friends to keep, not man could do have I left undone, and see you my harvest what I reap this very day. Now a year is run. So question number 1. Why was the poet welcomed as a hero? Now the poet, or rather the patriot, was welcomed a year ago for his victory as a hero. To welcome him, how was he welcomed? And to welcome him, his path was filled with roses. Church towers were decorated. The church spires were flaming with flags. They blazed with victory flags. People cheered for him. The house roofs, started heaving and swaying with the cheering. And the whole atmosphere was filled with the tingling of the bells. And it was as if the whole atmosphere had broken into a mist. Now, mist here refers to the sound of the church bells. And even the walls of the houses, they echoed with the cries and the shoutings of the people. So this is how he was welcomed as a hero for his good deed. Second question, in what mood is the speaker now? Where is he at present? The speaker is now in a mood of joy and happiness, in total exhilaration. About the time that he had a year ago. And at present, he is now on his way to the shambles gate with his hands tied and about to be executed. Third question. What tells you that the patriot was over ambitious? Now, the fact that the patriot thinks that his people would have done anything for him tells us that he was overambitious. He says, "Had I said, good folk, mere noise repels, but give me your son from yonder skies." Had he asked them to get the sun, they would have done it for him. This refers to his overambition. He wanted to overreach things. He wanted more and more power. He wanted the ultimate. And I've already explained to you the reference which is given to the sun here, the reference of Icarus and Daedalus. So you must make a note of that. Next question. What was the result of this overambition? As a result, because of one misdeed, he is now being taken to the gates of death on the will of the same people he thought who loved him. Question number 4. What do you mean by harvest? What has the speaker reaped? Now, harvest here is referring to the reward he got for the victory he got for his people, according to the speaker. And what has the speaker reaped? The speaker has reaped the reward of hate and death from the same people who once welcomed him. So he actually became overambitious, and because of his overambitiousness, he reaped hatred from the people for himself. That led to his total dejection. So, my dear children, he reaped sorrow, hatred, and he was carried away by all the adulation. As the saying goes, as you sow, so shall you reap. So it was a show of his power and his capabilities. And he actually tried to overreach for his friends. But ultimately, he landed up getting sorrow and hatred from the people. Next question. Where is he being led to? What thought makes him reconcile with his fate? He is being led to the shambles gate, at the scaffolds, or at the platform where criminals are hanged, and then he'll be executed on that scaffold. So what thought makes him reconcile with his fate? The thought of hate and betrayal surged from his people who a year ago welcomed and honored. So the thought of hate and betrayal surged from his people who a year ago welcomed and honored him, and that makes him reconcile with his fate. Now the next extract. There's nobody. This is the 4th stanza. The house stops now, just a pall-seat few at the windows set. For the best of the sight is, all allow, at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot I trow. Now, what has made most of the people leave the town? Most of the people have left the town as they want to reach to the shambles gate in order to watch the Patriot getting executed on the scaffold. Who is being led to the gallows? Oh, very simple question, children. The Patriot, who a year ago was welcomed by the people for his grand victory, is being led to the gallows. What has he done? he has done one misdeed which made the people completely blind to see all his good deeds and led him to his death. Because of one misdeed, now the people have forgotten all the good deeds, all the things that he did for them, and they are leading him to his death. Why do the people try to be at the shambles gate or near the scaffold's foot? The people tried to be at the shambles gate or near the scaffold so as to get a better view of the execution. Now, shambles gate, actually, it's a public place where people gather to watch public hanging or the execution of a person, of a criminal. Explain the line, just palsied few at the windows said. Now, this line means that only a few people that were afflicted with palsy, a disease where one cannot move, it's like paralysis, they were at the windows of their houses, and the others had all gone to the shambles gate. So this is a contrast from the first stanza, in which everybody was on the rooftop and the house roofs seemed to be heaving and swaying with their cheerings, their praises. And now just the people who were afflicted with paralysis or palsy were there. The poet brings out a sharp contrast between the past and the present of the Patriot. How? Yes. First, the poet gives us the description of the Patriot's life a year ago, which he represents as though the Patriot himself is remembering those days as he is being led to the shambles gate. And later, when he's being led to the shambles gate, there's a sharp contrast, because earlier he was, there was the feeling that he had, feeling of joy and happiness and triumph and someone who was really victorious. And now, while he was being led for his execution, obviously he was dejected, filled with sorrow, depressed, and so on. Next extract. Thus I entered, and thus I go. In triumphs people have dropped down dead, paid by the world, what dost thou owe? Me, God might question, now instead, 'tis God shall repay, I am safer so. This is the last stanza. Explain, thus I entered, and thus I go. Now, thus I entered means this is how the Patriot, entered his city amidst great rejoicings and honor. And thus I go means now he's leaving it, the same city, in great humiliation, insult, and hate. So the speaker feels that in this stanza that he has been actually paid for his deeds. He thinks he should have died at the time of triumphs, at the time of his victory, because many times people die fighting. So, but then later on there's a strong note of optimism as displayed in the stanza. And so he says, in this way I entered, and thus in this way I go. It's a sharp contrast here. Now the next question. What would have happened if the Patriot had died in excess of joy at his tumultuous welcome after his grand victory? Now the Patriot thinks that if he had died in excess of joy after his grand victory, then God would not have cared for him, since he would have been rewarded by the people. Now the poet has tried to depict an element of optimism in the speaker. He's saying that now because the people are not caring for him, so certainly he's going to be helped by God, and God is going to take care of him, and he'll be much safer in the hands of God. What thought makes him feel safer? The thought of the fact that now since the people have not rewarded him, they're rewarding him with hate and death instead of love and honor. God will reward him in heaven after his death. So this is why he feels safer. Moreover, you can say that there is a note of resignation also here, because here he resigns to his fate and he's ready for whatever God has in store for him. So he's ready for that. He feels that there is God above. So as long as God is there, he is safe. I'm safer so. What irony is involved here? Now the irony or the contrast, the irony is involved here is the fact that the Patriot is going to get executed by the same people for whom he risked his life for the grand victory. A year ago, they welcomed him and honored him, and now these people have brought the Patriot to the shambles gate. So this is the irony here. That same crowd who once gave him such a lot of adulation, gave him the feeling of exhilaration, is now giving him humiliation. Is the Patriot's optimism unrealistic? What do you think about it? Now, children, you can give your own views regarding this, but you have to give reasons. So if you say that it is unrealistic, then you must say that it is unrealistic as he believes that although he will be executed by the same people that once loved him, he will find peace and love in the arms of God. Upon his death, when he dies, ignoring the fact that he will forever be remembered in hatred by the people for his one mistake, and that the people will now forget all the sacrifices he made for them and the hard work that he did for them even after he dies. So we could say that his optimism is pretty unrealistic, because he feels that he'll be better off now, he'll be in safer hands, in the hands of God. But he doesn't realize that he may be remembered by the people, remembered of his hatred. And they will forget all the sacrifices that he made for them just because of one misdeed. So, my dear students, this is all for today. Please revise well. Thank you.